There is a part of your mind that never speaks loudly. It does not argue, it does not rush, it does not interrupt your thoughts. It waits all day long. Your conscious mind stays busy. It plans, it reacts, it worries, it decides, it explains, it defends. It tries to stay in control. It believes it is the one running your life. But beneath all of that, something else is listening. Your subconscious mind does not think in words. It thinks in patterns, in emotions, in images, in repetition. And right now, in the quiet before sleep, it is closer to the surface than at any other time of the day. This is why nights feel different. During the day, your conscious mind stands guard. It filters reality. It distracts you. It keeps you moving. But when the lights dim and the world softens, that guard grows tired. And when it relaxes, the deeper mind begins to speak. Not loudly, not urgently, but steadily. Your subconscious mind is ancient, much older than logic, much older than language. It learned long before you could explain anything. It learned when you were a child, watching faces, tones, reactions. It learned from repetition, not reason. It learned from what felt true, not what was explained as true. And once it learns something, it holds on to it. This is not because it is stubborn. It is because its job is protection. The subconscious mind exists to keep you safe, familiar, and predictable. Even if familiar includes stress, even if predictable includes struggle, even if safe means staying small. It does not judge outcomes the way you do. It only asks when questioned, does this feel known? If something feels known, even if it hurts, your subconscious accepts it as reality, and slowly, quietly, it begins to shape your life around it. This is why you may consciously want change, but unconsciously repeat the same patterns. Why you may desire peace, yet feel restless when things become calm. Why you may imagine a better future, but feel pulled back into old emotional states. Your subconscious mind is not sabotaging you. It is simply loyal to what it has learned. And tonight, as your breathing slows and your body grows heavy, that loyalty becomes visible. Because the subconscious does its most important work when you're not trying to control it. Notice how your body feels right now. Not your thoughts, your body, the weight of your limbs, the gentle rhythm of your breath, the way tension loosens without effort, This is the state where the subconscious listens most deeply, not to words, but to feeling. It is absorbing the emotional tone of this moment, calm or restless, safe or guarded, gentle or strained. And it will remember, not tomorrow, not consciously, but as a pattern. This is the first quiet truth of the subconscious mind. It does not create your reality through force. It creates it through familiarity. And what feels familiar is shaped in moments like this. Slow moments, soft moments, moments when the mind stops trying. This is why calm explanation matters, because the subconscious does not respond to urgency. It responds to repetition and emotional safety. And tonight, you are beginning to understand it. Not to control it, not to fight it, but to speak its language. Chapter 2: How the subconscious learns without you noticing. Your subconscious mind is always learning. Not in lessons, not in lectures, not in dramatic moments, but quietly, casually, patiently. It learns the way stone is shaped by water, not through force, but through repetition. Think back to childhood. No one sat you down and explained what the world was truly like. Instead, you observed. You noticed how voices sounded when people were angry. You noticed which emotions were welcomed and which were ignored. You noticed what happened when you spoke up or stayed quiet. You noticed what love felt like when it arrived and when it left. Your subconscious recorded all of it, not as stories, as sensations. And sensations are powerful teachers. The subconscious does not learn from intensity alone. It learns from frequency. One painful moment may hurt, but repeated small moments shape belief. A single rejection may sting, but repeated subtle dismissals teach. Do not expect too much. A single success may excite you, but repeated struggle teaches. Effort leads to exhaustion. A single calm evening may relax you, but repeated stress teaches. Peace does not last. Your subconscious is always asking, what happens most often? And it builds your internal world around that answer. This is why habits form without effort, why emotional reactions feel automatic, why certain thoughts appear again and again, especially at night. Because repetition builds pathways, not just the mental ones, but emotional ones. The subconscious does not remember why something happened. It remembers how it felt. And it assumes the future will feel the same. Consider how easily the body learns fear. You touch something hot once, your body remembers. No debate, no analysis. The subconscious says, avoid. The same process happens emotionally. If vulnerability once led to pain, the body learns to tighten. If hope once led to disappointment, the body learns to hesitate. If closeness once led to loss, the body learns distance. And none of this requires conscious agreement. It happens below language. This is where many people feel confused. They say, I know better. I understand this logically. I have thought about it enough. But logic does not speak the subconscious language. The subconscious does not respond to explanation. It responds to experience. And experience means what you feel, what you repeat, what you emotionally rehearse, especially when the conscious mind is tired, especially at night. Notice how your thoughts slow right now, how they drift rather than race. This drifting state is not empty, it is receptive. Your subconscious is most impressionable when the mind is relaxed, not focused. This is why patterns are often reinforced during quiet moments, why nighttime thoughts matter, why inner dialogue before sleep carries weight. Because repetition during calm becomes belief. The subconscious is not trying to trap you, it is trying to predict. It builds models of reality to conserve energy. If it believes something will end badly, it prepares you early. If it believes effort leads to failure, it resists effort. If it believes calm is temporary, it waits for disruption. Not out of pessimism, out of efficiency. Here is a gentle realization. Your subconscious mind is not concerned with happiness. It is concerned with familiarity. And familiarity feels safe, even when it is uncomfortable. This is why change can feel strangely threatening, not because change is bad, but because it is unknown. And the subconscious treats the unknown cautiously. So when you try to force change, when you demand confidence, when you pressure yourself to think positively, when you argue with your own feelings, the subconscious retreats, not in rebellion, in self-protection. It says, this is unfamiliar, this is sudden, this feels unsafe, and it waits. The path forward is not force, it is gentle repetition. Small experiences of safety, small moments of calm, small emotional corrections repeated quietly. This is how the subconscious learns, not overnight, but inevitably, just like water shaping stone. And this is why calm explanation matters so much. Because every time you soften instead of push, every time you observe instead of judge, every time you allow instead of resist, You are teaching your subconscious something new, something subtle, something powerful. Chapter 3: The Beliefs You Didn't Choose. Some of the strongest beliefs you carry were never consciously decided. You didn't sit down and choose them. You didn't debate them. You didn't sign off on them. They formed quietly, in moments you barely remember, and yet they guide your life more than any deliberate decision ever has. A belief in the subconscious sense is not a sentence. It is a felt conclusion, something the mind absorbs after enough emotional evidence. Not this is true, but this feels true. And what feels true becomes reality. You may consciously believe, I deserve peace, I am capable, I can change. But if your subconscious learned something different, those conscious beliefs struggle to take root. Because the subconscious does not trust words, it trusts patterns. Beliefs often form early, when the mind is most open, not because childhood is special, but because there is no filter. When you're young, you do not question experience, you absorb it. If your emotions were often dismissed, the subconscious lied, my feelings are inconvenient. If effort rarely led to appreciation, it learned, trying does not bring reward. If love felt inconsistent, it learned, closeness is unstable. None of these beliefs arrive as thoughts. They arrive as expectations, quiet background assumptions about how life works. And expectation shape perception. If you expect disappointment, you notice signs of it everywhere. If you expect abandonment, distance feels threatening. If you expect struggle, ease feels suspicious. The subconscious filters reality before you consciously experience it. Not to deceive you, but to confirm what it already believes. This is why two people can live the same situation and experience entirely different realities. The outer world may be identical, but the inner lens is not. One person feels supported, another feels alone. One feels opportunity, another feels pressure. One feels calm, another feels danger. The difference is not intelligence, it is conditioning. Here is something rarely explained gently. Your subconscious beliefs are not moral judgments, they are survival conclusions. They formed to help you adapt, to minimize pain, to predict outcomes, to prepare your nervous system. Every limiting beliefs once served a purpose. They kept you alert. They kept you cautious. They kept you emotionally prepared. And because once they helped, the subconscious holds on to them. This is why beliefs persist even after circumstances change. You may no longer be in danger. You may no longer be unsupported. You may no longer be that person. But the subconscious says, this pattern worked before. Why abandon it now? Change to the subconscious means risk, even positive change. Notice how certain beliefs activate emotionally, not as thoughts, but as sensations, a tightening in the chest, a sinking in the stomach, a sudden heaviness before action. That is not intuition, that is conditioning, the body reacting before the mind can intervene. And at night, when the conscious mind quiets, these beliefs rise closer to the surface, not to hurt you, but because the subconscious feels safe to speak. This is why nighttime thoughts feel true, not because they are accurate, but because the emotional filters are relaxed. The guard is down. The deeper material surfaces. Here is the gentle truth. You do not need to fight these beliefs. Fighting tells the subconscious it is under threat, and it responds by gripping tighter. What the subconscious needs is evidence, repeated, calm, emotional evidence that something else is now possible. Beliefs do not dissolve through argument. They soften through experience. Small experiences of safety, small moments of choice, small corrections repeated without force. This is slow work, but it is real work, and it begins with awareness. Noticing the belief without identifying with them. Not, this is who I am, but this is something I learned. That distinction is everything, because what is learned can be relearned. Chapter 4: How the inner world becomes the outer world. Nothing in your life appears suddenly. Not habits, not relationships, not opportunities, not even chaos. Everything arrives gradually as the outer echo of an inner pattern. Your subconscious does not directly control events. It controls responses, and responses repeated over time shape outcomes. This is where the power truly lies, not in mystical force, not in positive thinking, but in the quiet alignment between expectation and behavior. Consider how you move through a day, what you notice first, what you overlook, what feels inviting, what feels threatening. These choices happen before conscious thought. Your subconscious sets the tone. If it expects rejection, it notices distance. If it expects difficulty, it notices obstacles. If it expects ease, it notices openings. Not because reality changes, but because attention does. And attention shapes experience. This is how the inner world becomes the outer world, not magically, mechanically, through perception, reaction, repetition. If your subconscious believes effort leads to exhaustion, you hesitate before starting. If it believes closeness leads to pain, you hold back emotionally. If it believes calm never lasts, you stay alert even in peace. These reactions subtly influence how others respond to you, not dramatically, but consistently. And consistency creates patterns. Over time, these patterns feel like fate. I always end up here. This always happens to me. I don't know why things go this way. But what's happening is quieter than fate. Your subconscious is choosing familiar emotional terrain, not consciously, automatically. Notice how comfort works. Comfort does not always mean happiness. Comfort means known. A familiar struggle can feel safer than an unfamiliar peace. This is why people sometimes drift back into situations they consciously want to escape. Not because they enjoy pain, but because their nervous system recognizes the pattern. The subconscious says, I know how to survive here. This doesn't mean you are trapped. It means your system is consistent, and consistency can be gently redirected. The subconscious does not leap, it follows gradients. Small changes repeated feel safe. Large changes imposed feel threatening. This is why sudden transformations rarely last. But subtle shifts compound. Here is an important distinction. The subconscious does not create what you want. It creates what you expect. Expectation lives beneath hope. Hope is conscious. Expectation is embodied. If you hope for peace but expect tension, your body prepares for tension, and the body always leads behavior. This is why calm repetition is powerful. Each time you respond differently, even slightly, you interrupt a pattern, not by force, but by presence. A pause before reacting, a softer inner response, a gentler interpretation. These moments may feel insignificant. They are not. They are signals. Your subconscious is always asking, is this new response safe to repeat? If you respond with calm and nothing terrible happens, the system notices. If you allow ease and survive it, the system updates. If you choose softness and remain intact, the system learns. Slowly, quietly. This is how reality reshapes itself. Not overnight, but inevitably. Because when the inner world changes its expectations, the outer world meets you differently. Not because it obeys you, but because you move through it differently. This chapter carries a gentle reassurance. You do not need to control life. You need to become aware of the emotional posture you bring to it. That posture speaks louder than intention. Chapter 5, Working with the Subconscious, Not Against It. The subconscious mind does not want to be conquered. It wants to be understood. Most struggle does not come from lack of effort. It comes from moving against the system that has been protecting you all along. Tonight, you learn something quieter, something kinder. You learn how to cooperate. The subconscious is not logical. It does not respond to pressure, deadlines, or ultimatums. It responds to signals, signals of safety, signals of patience, signals of consistency. When you push yourself harshly, it tightens. When you judge yourself, it hides. When you demand instant change, it resists. Not because it is stubborn, but because it is cautious. Its job is to keep you alive, not enlightened. Working with the subconscious begins with one shift, from control to relationship. You stop trying to command it. You start listening to it. Notice how your body responds to kindness. Not dramatic kindness, simple gentleness, a slower breath, a softer posture, a calmer inner tone. These are not small things. They are messages. They say, we are not in danger right now. And the subconscious relaxes when it hears that. Here is the most important principle. The subconscious changes through experience, not instruction. So instead of telling yourself who you should be, you show yourself who you are becoming in small ways, repeated ways, gentle ways. For example, instead of forcing confidence, you allow one moment of ease. Instead of demanding certainty, you allow one moment of not knowing. Instead of fixing everything, you allow one moment of rest. The subconscious notices. It says, this did not harm us. This felt different. This may be safe to repeat. And repetition rewires expectation. This is why self-compassion works when discipline fails. Not because compassion is weak, but because it builds trust. And trust opens learning. You do not need to erase old patterns. They fade naturally when no longer needed. The subconscious releases what no longer protects, but only after it feels safe enough to let go. Think of change like this. Not a battle, a handover. The old pattern steps back only when it trusts the new one will hold you. This is why nighttime matters so much. Because in these quiet moments, you're not performing, you're not proving, you're simply being. And being is the subconscious language. Tonight, You're not here to reprogram yourself. You're here to befriend yourself, to let your system know, I am listening now. I'm not rushing you. We can learn together. That message lands deeper than any affirmation ever could. If you remember nothing else from this video, remember this. Your subconscious mind is not your enemy. It is your memory, your protector, your history in motion. When you move gently, it moves with you. When you soften, it softens. When you slow down, it finally has time to catch up. So let your breathing slow. Let your body rest. Let the mind drift without correcting it. You do not need to do anything else tonight. Change is already happening quietly, naturally, in the same calm way you are listening right now. This has been Midnight Mind. If this felt calming, that calm is not coming from that video. It was already inside you. Good night and rest gently.